Hey there, why you should. Today, I want to tackle a pretty painful subject for me. A very painful subject to me. Probably the biggest mistake I've ever done in my life that only yesterday was finally washed away and completely done, and and that's it. It's fully over with. And it is, I believe, the biggest mistake I've made in my life, the biggest sink and time waste and mental power taken away from me, and just excruciating crap that I've had to deal with for so long. And this is not easy to talk about, and it's a very touchy, problematic subject, but I want to discuss it today because it's a very big weight off my heart and off my head and off my shoulders that has finally gone away completely, in a way that I'm finally sure that I'll never be bothered again. And it's saying a lot. It's saying a lot. It's still in there, It's still very close, and it's the feeling of okay, the sigh is still not complete, but it's getting there. I'll have to finally breathe easy after so long. And with that exposition, quite a long exposition, let's talk about what the hell I'm talking about. So, I believe 6 years ago, or maybe it was even a little bit more than that, when I was about the age of 18, 19, I'm currently, I'll be 24 in a month. I'll be turning 24 in April, and it's March right now, 19 of March 2014. About 6 years ago, I signed a contract, and it was the dumbest thing I've ever done. The dumbest thing I've ever done. Because I live in Israel, every person in Israel needs to serve for 3 years in the military. I'm talking about standard life here, okay? There's a ton of other things that go into it, and we're not going to discuss those. But the standard way that it works is, if you live in Israel, you finish high school, and then you go to the army. The way that the army determines what you do, because it's quite a big organization, and there's a lot of roles to fill, the way that it decides what you do is by your profile, okay? You get a profile, and that profile is a medical profile that determines what you do, okay? I'm pretty sure what I'm saying isn't considered, telling information that no other countries should know. But I'm not going to name the specific profile numbers, because I guess I shouldn't be, but I don't even know. There is a profile, a threshold, where you will be a fighter, okay? Or you will not be a fighter. Pretty much. That's kind of how it works. Are you going to be in the fighting corps, or are you going to be the someone in the back? Okay, I don't really know the equivalence. There's clearly a term for it in Hebrew, but I don't know the equivalent in English. But you're either going to be on the front lines, supposedly. Doesn't have to be the front lines, but you're either going to be a fighter or not a fighter. And my profile back then was of that of a fighter, okay? It was that of a fighter, which means I will basically get something. And I did not want that, because I am not for me, okay? What I wanted to do, I knew that I had to essentially waste 3 years of my life in the army, and I wanted it to do something good, because there's a lot of things that are good in the army. Or so I thought. There's some things that the army does that bring you out to civilian life in a positive light, or in a good way. Either they teach you a skill, and you get a lot of practice in that skill, and you learn something to do. You learn a profession. And I wanted to do that. In high school, I learned computers. I learned coding, okay, the basics of coding. And I wanted to do that in the army as well. I knew that the army had coders, people who code, okay, programmers. So I wanted to do that, but I had a fighter's profile, so I couldn't do that. So I couldn't go directly to the course. Okay, there's a course, a programmer's course, and I couldn't go to it. I couldn't, because I had a fighter profile. That's just how it works. There was a different program, though, that allows you, only for specific people, to go to get into that coding course, to get into that programming course. And I did that. And I decided to go on that program, and I did it as before you even go into the Army. I went into that program, and then I had to pass a test, and I passed that test. And then, okay, you're accepted into the programmer's course, and then you have to sign. What do you have to sign? A normal person does 3 years. A programmer in the Army gets training, quite extensive training. It's one of the most luxurious courses in the Army. And that course requires you to sign extra years. 2.5 extra years of service. Now, this isn't standard service. In standard service, you're just a standard person who serves. This is the I don't know how to call it in English exactly, but you get a proper paycheck, okay, and you're considered a worker, and your status is much higher than a normal person that just works standardly. You know, a standard soldier that does its 3 years, you're sort of an employee of the Army in a way, not entirely, but you are in uniform and everything, but you are considered a little bit higher than that. But that's 2.5 extra years of that. And I was told a lot of things. Clearly, there's a lot of things you can't say, but I was told a lot of things about being a programmer for the Army. I was told a lot of things, and how great it is later on outside as well, and how the work itself is really, really great in the Army itself. And that led me to that want to actually do that and not be a fighter, to sign for that on that contract for 2.5 years. And that was the biggest mistake I've ever done, in a way. I think the one of the best things that happened to me in the Army, the best periods in the Army for me was the actual course, because it was a good course. I can't say that it's a bad one because it's a wonderful course. And the people that I met there, actually one specific person that I met there, one of my best friends today, I met him there, okay? And today he's really my best friend and one of the closest people to me. I met him there. That's pretty much the best thing that happened in the Army. Other than that, everything else was kind of bad. And I really despised my time in the Army. And I really hated it. And once I got out, I got out without doing the 2.5 years, but the 2.5 years are considered very highly and very strongly. And it's not standard just when someone signs extra time. It's super powerful, okay? It's hard for me to explain this, but it's super powerful. And that's why the Army kept bothering me. After I got out, I basically got out for a period of a year, and the Army wanted to get me back. They wanted to get me back, and I had to come back and leave again. And my profile, I left on a medical profile because of my chronic pain disease. I have a chronic pain disorder, by the way. I'm fine. I'm not really fine, but whatever. I got out because of that, and the Army kept checking on with me every 6 months. And they wanted me to come back. Okay, how are you doing? Same. Okay, see you in 6 months. And it just kept on going. And that is a huge mental drain on me. It's a very large mental drain. And it was hard. It was really hard and annoying. After, I thought I got out, but they still want me in. And, you know, there's always the fear that they'll say, nah, you seem fine. Yeah, you could get back in service. It's terrifying every time. And it's a very big ordeal because, you know, you have to go to the Army base and you have to deal with soldiers. And let me tell you, some of these, you know, they hate their job and they do stupid things and they have to deal with bitter people, bitter soldiers, and they're bitter themselves. And it's not very enjoyable to deal with a 19-year-old girl that thinks she owns the world and is a total not nice person. Okay, I'm being very, very, I'm trying to be very civilized here. What I'd like to do is yell. I'm like thinking about muting and then yelling a little bit and then unmuting the mic, but I won't do that. It's hard. It's annoying. It took me 8 hours yesterday of primarily standing and walking around. Okay, my legs hurt because I had to stand around so much, and there was seating area, but the seats are not comfortable, and it's annoying, and I have to walk around and try and talk to people and go through walls of bureaucracy, and it was not pleasant. I finally got out, though. I finally got out, and like I said, it's a weight off my heart and my head and my shoulders, and done. Finally done. So what can I take from this, and what can you take from this? This is a question, because this is really it. How do we learn, and how do we improve? Well, never sign anything, ever! Okay, that's what I want to say. It's clearly not true. But you need to try and get the most information that you possibly can. And in hindsight, which is obviously 2020, most of the information was just not true. I didn't have complete information. I knew it was kind of good and kind of okay and kind of what you do there. But I never really knew. I had no idea what Army is, because there wasn't really a way for me to know. And that made that signing of 2.5 years very, very problematic. And it's a very problematic signing. I understand it from the Army's perspective, because they invest a lot in these people and they want to get their return for investment. Okay? It's, something in the business world that applies here too as well. But it's very, very difficult, because this is not for everyone. And definitely not for me. It's a very difficult place to be at for some people. And that was, I made a very bad decision upon, bad information or wrong information that I had, or the lack of information. And that is a mistake. That is a really big mistake. You should always try and be absolutely certain of the contract that you sign, especially when they're so large. If it was something for a year, then it's not a big deal. But this is a signing that I'm going to do 3 years and then 2.5 years extra. So I'm basically marrying the Army for 5.5 years. That is a very long amount of time, and it's a really big mistake for me. And it's finally done. I'm really happy that it's done. Like I said, the sigh comes afterwards. And that's it. I thought this was interesting to share. It also helps me, just put it out, spell it out. It helps give closure for me as well. So thanks for listening, I guess. And I hope we'll give you a little bit of a new perspective and a new appreciation for something, because this has haunted me. I had terrible 3 years, and then it haunted me for an additional 2 or so years, until finally yesterday it was over. And yesterday was nerve-wracking because I didn't know what was going to happen. So you should really, really be careful what you sign and make educated decisions upon correct information and full information as much as possible. Clearly this stands on its own in whatever decision you make, but man. And that's it. I'm done. I'm really happy that it's finally over. I'm definitely gonna rest. March has been pretty terrible so far. I really want this month to end, and on April it's gonna be a lot better. And on April 25th, Dark Souls 2 comes out, so I'll be very happy for that. So there's, I'm not very happy right now, but I will be moving forward. And that's it. So thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry for story time and it being pretty long today. But yeah, that's what I needed, and to explain myself, and yeah, that's it. We're done. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.